Today I'm going to talk to you about the Real Thai Language course and how it can help you learn the Thai language quickly and easily. The first point to make is the course is created from real materials. The materials that the course is created from are subtitles, speeches, lectures, news and religious texts. So we use that content to create the lessons, to compile the lessons. So the sentences that you will see in the course are real sentences used in real materials. So when you use a course, you'll be exposing yourself to actual real language, not simplified language. When you're learning language, any language, it's very important to learn the most important words first, because the majority of the vocabulary that we use in day-to-day situations is only a couple thousand words, and that covers the majority of words that we use in the day-to-day situations. And the small percentage of words that aren't covered in the first 2,000 words are more specialized words, which you will slowly pick up as you keep learning. But by learning the most important words first, you'll make progress very quickly, and you will not spend time or waste time learning vocabulary that is not immediately useful to you. And so we ensure that you learn the most important words first and the most frequent words first, because we count how often each word appears in all of the content that we use to create the course, and that's a wide variety of content over millions of sentences. We create that list of the frequency of words, then according to that list we generate the exercises for the course. So the next point is learning at your own speed. Some courses will teach you too much too quickly, and this can be overwhelming, or some people just don't have the time to sit down and study for an hour or 2 hours, or even half an hour. Whereas our course is made up of simple exercises which only take a minute or so, or maybe a couple minutes to complete, and you can specify how many exercises you want to do every day. And when you're introduced to new exercises, it mixes them with exercises that you've just completed. So you review what you've just learned while introducing yourself to new vocabulary. And you can adjust those settings according to your needs. So if you wanted to study 20 minutes a day or even 15 minutes a day, you can say, I want to learn 5 words a day, and it will give you 5 exercises which will teach you 5 new words. And conversely, if you wanted to study 8 hours a day, which is also totally fine, you could split up the study into sessions, what we call sessions. And so each session you could say, I want to learn 15 new words, and that may take you half an hour, and then you can do 10 sessions a day. So you can use the course full time, or you can use the course for 15 minutes a day. The program includes review exercises which help you, have you review every single word you learn 4 times. And those reviews are spaced over a period where the intervals get longer and longer to help you help those words make it into your long-term memory. So even if you do not repeat any exercise within the course, you will review everything you've learned at least 4 times. It will actually be a lot more. You'll see the sentence, each word you learn in a minimum of 4 sentences, and it may be hundreds of sentences. So, but if you want to review, if you're finding it harder to remember, maybe your memory is not as good as someone else, you can have the program review the exercises that you learn, and you can choose when they will be reviewed. So for example, by default, you will review every exercise once after 60 days and once after 40 days. So that's 2 times. But as I mentioned, there's also the inbuilt review sentences. But if you wanted to review more often, if you're having troubles remembering what you're learning, you could say, I want to review 5 times over 2 months, and then you can adjust those settings to do that. So you can review as often and when you like. And this makes the course suitable for all learners because it's fully adjustable. Now, it's very important to build fluency when learning. You could learn a language, well, you could try to learn a language by memorizing a list of tens of thousands of words. But when it comes to using or comprehending the language, you are not going to be able to comprehend it well, and you're not going to be able to use it if you haven't built fluency. So to build fluency, the best way is to read the sentences or listen to the sentences and vocabulary in a very wide range of contexts. That will give you practice comprehending the words that you've learned. So when it comes to a conversation, you'll be able to hear somebody using the words, and you'll be able to comprehend it very quickly because you've already heard this word and comprehended it in many different contexts. And when you comprehend the language or comprehend vocabulary in a wide range of contexts, it automatically sinks into your long-term memory because your brain has to think about the sentence and the vocabulary on a deeper level, and just thinking about the words helps you to remember them with very little effort at all. So each exercise in the course gives you 10 random sentences which contain words that you've learnt already, just words that you've already learnt in previous exercises. And as we'll mention in a moment, the 8 sentences could consist of one dialogue that contains 8 sentences in the dialogue, and then 2 other random sentences, which gives you practice reading dialogues and reading conversations. So building fluency in a language enables you to understand the language when it's being used, and also enables you to use the language without really having to think, because it will be almost second nature to you. And the only way you can do that is to expose yourself to a large amount of the language, and that's a large number of sentences using the words you've learnt, which our course provides you. As I mentioned, there's 10 random sentences in each exercise. And as I mentioned, there's review sentences within each exercise. So each exercise contains 4 review sentences, which will review words that you've previously learned, and generally they will give you those words in new contexts, in different sentences. And so just by reading those sentences, you will review everything you've already learnt at least 4 times. And the words will also appear in the fluency building exercises. So you'll generally see that the words that you're learning many times, 10, 15 or 20 times, probably at least up to hundreds of times. As I mentioned, it's always important to learn in context, because that gives your brain a chance to think about the vocabulary and the language, and it helps you remember it, and it helps you build fluency rather than just remembering individual words. So we provide you these words in so many different contexts that you will build a deep understanding of each word. In the course, you will never see unfamiliar words. So we will teach you the language one word at a time, and we teach you over 6,000 words. So we teach you from the most common word to, say, the 6,000th most common word, according to the materials that we've used to create this course. And as we teach you one word at a time, you'll never see a word that you have not been previously introduced to, which means you'll never have to really look up any word in the dictionary, because every word you would have already learnt. And as with other language courses, they may give you a dialogue to read and expect you to look up multiple words because you have not been introduced to them. And that can waste a lot of time, and it can make the exercise too hard, whereas that will never be the case with the real Thai course. As I mentioned before, the fluency building exercises can contain a dialogue which is up to 8 sentences long, and that helps you understand the flow of conversations, and it will give you a sample which will be multiple sentences from subtitles, news or lectures or speeches that you can read. And this makes it interesting because you're reading something meaningful. The learning process, as I mentioned, is broken down into basically learning one word at a time, which is always you're always given an example, 5 example sentences in total. So you're learning one word per exercise, with the exception of the first 10 or 15 exercises, because in order to give you meaningful sentences at the start, sometimes we have to give you more than one word or two words at the start, because you need 10, 20 words to start building basic sentences. So you will learn one word per exercise, and the one exercise may take you, if you read all the exercises, it may take you 5 minutes or so to complete if you read them all, the review exercises. So the process of learning is broken down to very simple steps that anybody can complete. As I mentioned before, you can adjust the settings to set the program to introduce you to a certain number of new exercises per day, or if you want, you can study 10 hours a day, and you can do that by adjusting the settings. So you could learn 10 per time, and you could do 10 sessions per day, or you could learn 5 words a day. It's totally up to you. So if you have 15 minutes a day, you can use the program, even less. Or if you want to study 10 hours a day full time, you can use the program. It will be totally suitable for you. When you're introduced to a new word, we give you the definition of the word along with 5 example sentences, and this means you will not need to look up the words in the dictionary when they're introduced, because the definition is included in the course, and we give you the 5 example sentences, which will help you develop a very good understanding of the new word you're learning straight away, and you'll build up your understanding as you complete the further exercises. The course contains 5,000 words. It will be slightly more than that, because the first 10 or 15 so exercises may teach you more than one word, and the occasional exercise later on might teach you more than one word, so that you learn more than 5,000 words. And with a vocabulary of 5,000 words, you will be able to understand the majority of vocabulary used in almost most situations. The only thing you'll be missing is more technical vocabulary. And with a vocabulary of 5,000 words, you can, for example, just start reading subtitles or watching a movies, and any new word, you should be able to pick it up easily, because you will have such a big vocabulary already that the number of new words will be infrequent. So therefore, it will be easy to pick it up because you will understand the context. So 5,000 words is a very large vocabulary to learn, and it will really get you to a point where you feel comfortable in the language and will be understand the majority of vocabulary used in most situations. You will just need to further build up your technical vocabulary, and that can be done just by listening to people talking, practice talking, looking up any words you don't know. So once you've learned 5,000, you probably don't need to do any real conscious study after that. You can just use the language. If you do want to do any conscious study, it would just be something like reading news articles and looking up the words the words you don't know, and there shouldn't be too many. With a vocabulary of 5,000, or you could read subtitles or read whatever you want. So a vocabulary of 5,000 words really gives you a very good understanding of the language, and it's just a matter of slowly building up from there. Every Thai sentence in the course contains an English translation, so if you're not quite sure about what the Thai sentence means, you can refer to the English translation. But as we teach you the language one word at a time, you should know every single word in every sentence that you come across. So generally, you won't need to refer to the English translations very much, but we provide them if you're confused. You can also, within the program, select a sentence and translate it using online translation services. You can select words and look them up on online dictionaries too, if you are not quite sure of the meaning of the sentence. The course contains approximately 70,000 sentences, because each exercise includes 5 example sentences, usage example sentences. It includes 10 fluency building exercises and 4 review exercises, and then there's a few other sentences which show the context of the sentence. So they may show you the sentence before the sentence you're learning in the source material and the sentence after. So 70,000 sentences that you'll read once you complete the course, that will give you a very detailed understanding of the language, because you'll be exposed to a very wide range of language used in many different contexts. So you'll have a very deep understanding and broad understanding of the language by the time you complete the course. New vocabulary is introduced gradually. As I mentioned before, you can specify how many words you want to learn at a time, but you can also specify how slowly those new words are introduced. So for example, if you start the course and it will give you a new word, then you will press next, then it will review that word you've just learned straight away. Then you might press next again and it could review that word for a second time, and then you press next again and it will introduce you to your second new word, and then you read that and press next, then it will review the first word vocabulary you've learned, and then the second, and it might do that a couple times, and then you press next and it will give you the third new word. So the program will gradually introduce you to new vocabulary, not allowing you to forget what you've just learned. And the pace in which new vocabulary is introduced is totally customizable, so you can adjust those settings to say how gradually you want new vocabulary introduced, meaning that the course is suitable for people of any level. And even if your memory is not that good or you find it hard learning languages, you can just simply adjust those settings and it will make it as easy as you want. You can slow the audio just by clicking replay slow within the course. The audio is a native male speaker, and it's recorded at a clear pace, which is neither too fast or too slow. Just it's emphasized to be recorded clear, much like maybe a news speaker how a news speaker would speak. But if it's too fast initially, you just press replay slow and you can hear it at half speed, or you can adjust at what speed it will play at. You can review what you learn by copying the audio contained in the program to any device, say your phone, to listen to. So you can review all of the vocabulary just by listening to the audio on any device you want, which is a good way to review. The course, the price at the moment, I think it's $360. So basically with the price, if you think of how large the course is, it teaches you 5,000 words, and it will take you, if you were to study full-time, it would take you perhaps a year to complete the course. So yeah, if you studied full-time, and you could do it in basically in a year if you studied quite a lot. So it's basically 1 year of full-time study is included in the course. And if you were to learn the same amount in using any other methods in classes or with a tutor, you're going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars. And because we've put so much effort and time into making the process of learning easier, using this course, it should be easier than any other method. So you're not only learning in a faster manner, but we're also giving you more content than you could get using probably any other course that's out there. So in terms of the size of the course and the efficiency, the price is very good, and you won't be able to beat it. And for what you're learning, you're basically getting a very good understanding of the language for only $350 or so. And you can't really learn a language cheaper than that. Yeah, I mean, if you're studying at a university for a year, which you would learn about the same amount, it's going to cost you many, many thousands of dollars. The other factor you have to consider when purchasing or looking at any course, if you're learning a language, is how quickly you will learn. And it's very important to think about how easy will this course or method make learning. Because if a method's 20% faster, and it might take you 1,000 hours to learn the language, if it's 20% faster, that may save you 200 hours of time to get to the same point using a specific method. So then you have to think about, well, if you're saving 200 hours of time, how much is that worth to you, an extra 200 hours of time? So when you're looking at language courses, not just this course or any other course in any other language, it's very important to consider that how quickly it teaches you and how efficient the course is worth a lot of money, because it can potentially save you hundreds of hours of time and potentially a lot of frustration. Other courses can make learning difficult and encourage you to give up because it's too hard. And the course comes with a 30-day guarantee, so if you do not like it for any reason, just let me know and your account will be cancelled, and you obviously won't be able to use the content, but we will send your money back, and your payment is made through PayPal or Stripe, another huge payment processor. And if we did not guarantee the course, if we did not stand up to our guarantee, then they would just refund your money anyway, because they only will allow us to sell through their payment processor if we stand up to what we say and we provide a product that is exactly what we say. So there's no risk that you will lose your money if you purchase the course. You can just ask for your money back, and we will happily send that money back and cancel your account. The course comes with a course which I've created which will teach you how to read. It will teach you how to use and understand the tones of the language and how to count. This is an old course I created many years ago, and hundreds and hundreds of people, or thousands of people, have actually done this course. And the course makes the process of learning to read simple, and anyone can do it. It's not even something you have to be concerned about. Learning to read is simple to do, providing it's done in the right way, which is the course I send you, the older course I created, will do that. And you'll be able, if you study full time, you'll be able to learn to read, and you'll be able to understand the tones of the language in, say, 3 weeks. And then that's it. And then once you've done that, you just continue with the Real Thai course, and that will give you further practice reading and listening, and your reading skills will improve, and your reading skills will speed up over time when using the Real Thai course. Now I'm going to talk about the limitations of the course. So the course runs on Windows. It's software that runs within Windows, and the reason that is because there's a lot on the screen. As I said, there's 20 sentences, and you can look up words online. It's much easier to use on a large screen than, say, a phone, and as you would if you're using some technical software. It's always going to be run on a computer with a big screen and keyboard and mouse, and you can use your mouse, which makes it easier to click on words, select words and look them up. And your keyboard, there's shortcut keys for all of the functions, meaning that you can operate the whole course just with your keyboard. Now the other limitation is that as the sentences are taken from real materials, sometimes in the first beginning sentences, some of them may not, the occasional one may not be that clear, especially at the start, because we don't have many words to give you new sentences. So some of the sentences have been simplified within the first couple hundred exercises, and not after that. Now, as I mentioned, the course contains over 70,000 sentences, and we can't manually check every single one of them. It would take us years to ensure the translations were perfect. So there will be a small percentage of sentences where the translation may not be complete, or it may be wrong, and this is only a very small amount of the sentences. As I mentioned, this should not be an issue because you learn the language one word at a time. So when you see a Thai sentence, you will know every word. So generally you will not need to look at the translation. Now, with the main sentences within the exercise, we give you 2 translations. One is the translation taken from the source material, and the second one is a computer translation. So if one doesn't seem quite right, you can read the other one, and you can also as we give you, for each new word, we give you 5 example sentences. If one you're not too sure on, just read the next example sentence. But generally, as there are a very small amount of errors, or a very small percentage of errors with the translations, this will not present an issue for you, because of the way the course is structured. And you can just, if you're not quite sure on what a word is in the sentence, in that context, you simply select the word and you can look it up in online dictionaries, any online dictionary you choose. So that covers it for this video. If you want to learn the Thai language, this course will get you to a very, very good level in a very short amount of time. So if you have a short period of time to learn the language, you want to get good in 6 months. You probably won't be able to complete the course in 6 months, even if you studied every day. But if you did, you would be at an amazing level in 6 months if you could complete the course in that time. But most people won't be able to do that. But if you could do it in 9 months, if you studied every day, by the time you finish the course, you'll be at such a good level where you'll just be able to slowly improve from there by listening to people and reading. And as I mentioned, you won't really need to do any further study, but you could if you want to, just by reading articles and looking up the unknown words. But it will get you to that level where you're basically self-sufficient in the language. So that's all for this video. Thanks for your time. If you have any questions about the course, please let me know. If you see this, you can comment on it, or you can send me an email, and I'll answer any of your questions. So thanks for your time.